Well, first of all, I just thought, man, I wish, I'm an Olympic champion, but I wish I was a heavyweight Olympic champion because you're right. There's really he can personally do all of them. If I was in a situation, the UFC can't afford him. I'm sorry, they can afford him, but they're not going to pay him. And unfortunately, man, and I do believe like within the next couple years, he could beat a guy like John Jones or even Francis Ngannou. He's the biggest threat because of his wrestling base, which is extremely scary.
You believe he could go into that heavyweight division right now and end up beating champion Francis Ngannou, beating John Jones? You think he could be on that level and actually beat up those guys?
Oh, of course, because he's a real heavyweight. But if you were to put him in there right now, John Jones would hurt him. Francis Ngannou would hurt him. And I've been there before when I first fought Demetrius Johnson. I had already had stand up with, and I got knocked out at 2 minutes and 36 seconds. So you do have to respect the game. What Gable Steveson needs right now is he needs time. Whatever he decides to dedicate himself to, he's gonna need 2 years, even for the WWE. I mean, he could probably fast track the WWE because it's stunts and it's an act. But if he's gonna go back to wrestling, he has to go back immediately. For amateur Olympic style wrestling, or he's gonna have to start training. I would go the Bellator route and go maybe go to these smaller shows to kind of build them up, and then eventually take him to the UFC where we can put him against the top 5 opponents right away, and eventually fast pace him to the title. I actually talked to Gable yesterday,
and I was just going to ask you that because I was going to say, Henry, if anybody whose brain he would want to pick, it should be yours.
Yeah, but this is why there's the same reason why I don't think he'll get into fighting. Because you'd figure he'd probably hit me up, he'd probably talk to me, or he should talk to me, because we do come from the same base. And I fought amateur for 3 years. I competed in amateur boxing prior to getting into to mixed martial arts. So I already had 2 out of the 4 bases down, strong. So I went in there, with fast pace, and then I eventually caught on to the sport of mixed martial arts, and that's all she wrote. And I started on a rampage, not beating Demetrius Johnson, the greatest of all time, knocking out the EPO, the Juice Head, the Snake, TJ Dildo Shaw, and then bringing out a Mr. Clean and Marlon Moraes, and then and then stopping on Dominique Cruz. What else do you want, man? I went on the rampage. If Gable Steveson wants some advice, he knows who to call.
What did you tell him? What did you tell him, Henry, when you talked to him though yesterday?
I'm just giving him pointers and say, listen, man, you have your manager, you have your agent, but at the same time, you got to strike with the iron's heart. You got to push him. You got to work, and then whatever it is you decide to do, you got to focus in on that and actually have a game plan, because you cannot just try to dabble in on all of them, because master of all trades is the master of none. Focus on one, go to the other. I think you should probably do 2 years here, 2 years there, and then decide what is it that because he really does. He's 20 years old and he has the ability to do all of them.